Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced, and you're listening to Living Better with me. And basically, I will be doing some more health episodes coming soon. Update on my sort of health journey and weight loss and all that stuff. But this episode, I want to focus on sort of focus. Okay, because one of those things, whether you're trying to improve your health, you're trying to improve your career, regardless of what you're trying to improve, one of the things that are going to get in your way if you don't find ways to manage it is focus. The idea to make sure that you don't get too distracted or forget to do things that you need to do to achieve your goals. And so the question is like, how do you help improve focus? I mean, of course, one thing that you can do is just, be healthier. You'll actually find, and I can tell you this from personal experience, that when you practice sort of healthier habits, you will find it easier to focus, and you'll find that you have to do less to focus. Your brain will just kind of sort of be finer tuned. But again, at the same time, there are going to be times of stress. There's going to be times where there's just too many things going on for you to be on top of all your health habits. That you will find yourself losing focus. And ways that I found to manage that, of course, are like productivity tools. Like my favorite are like online. I prefer online tools such as like using like Notion, Asana, Trello, tools like that I can just kind of like track the progress of my projects, track where I am, things I need to get done. But those do require a habit for you to check those. Okay, so then again, if you lose focus, you might forget to check your to-do list. So another way I do this is at the end of each day before I go to sleep, I'll set a few alarms. Okay, like I have my Google Calendar. My Google Calendar alerts me of things, so I'll schedule things ahead of time. Okay, as soon as I think I need to go do these things, I'll schedule the time on my calendar so that way I get those alerts. So even if I forget to check my to-do list, I'm generally going to get an alert at some point that reminds me to do things. Okay. So yeah, I'll set up my calendar to kind of give me updates and alerts. So that way, that way I have a backup. Another thing I'll do is like at the end of each night, what I'll do is I'll write myself a to-do list and put it in front of my computer. So that way, if I forget, that way it's just another contingency to make sure that like, hey, if I don't check Notion, if I don't, for some reason I don't notice the alerts on my calendar, there's a physical piece of paper there. If using something like Notion or Evernote or whatnot can be tricky. Another thing I used to do nowadays, I'm much better at like writing my notes in these apps. But when I was kind of first trying to transition, what I would do is I would still use a handwritten like journal, and I would make sure there's a page for every day. But what I would do is I would take a picture of each day's notes and then upload it to something like Evernote. So that way, if I need to look for a particular day's notes, I could search for that day or search through them in Evernote, but I didn't, like I didn't have to like, I could quickly write my notes down. So that was another strategy that kind of helped me get into these sort of productivity habits. But bottom line is just having something that alerts you, something that helps you remember. So I usually just do the three tiers. I got my calendar. My calendar gives me alerts. I got my sort of like project management tool, so I track all my different projects and my progress in them there. And I try to check that on a daily basis and make that sort of my central hub of life, particularly Notion is what I use mainly. And then three, making sure I write a physical to-do note that's somewhere at my desk, so that way, if I do get distracted, I will eventually see like that note that I wrote myself. And this usually works pretty well. It keeps me focused. But I also try to set like certain like benchmarks or metrics of things I want to get done by when, and like kind of go into it knowing what my leeway is. So I say, hey, this is my goal, but if I slack, this is sort of like my do or die. So this is like as far as I'll let myself slack, and then this is the reward if I get something done early. So by going into everything, sort of like having sort of best, worst case, and target scenario sort of in place, it gives myself a little structure, and then again I hit those. If I reward myself, if I do things ahead of schedule, it gives me sort of an incentive to do that. Um, that does require some discipline to make sure you don't just reward yourself without doing the thing. But that's why it's good to have like measurable goals. So then say, okay, this is my goal for the day, and then sometimes I'll work a little bit longer if I didn't hit my goals because I didn't hit my goals. And then as you go on, you get better at sort of setting your daily goals because you'll have a better idea of what you can take on each day and what works for you and what doesn't. But that's sort of the things that I do to help me stay focused. But again, good habits to have in general, like eating some blueberries, drinking some green tea, um, you know, adding some ginseng to your coffee, or adding ginseng to your tea, or drinking like a ginseng green tea. That's gonna definitely help you focus at a more like health chemical level. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. My name is Alex Merced. I'll see you all in the next episode. Have a great day and enjoy.